Greetings, what is up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is shining and the magpie is casting. Coming to you guys right now with a live 1 versus 1 battle fresh from the ladder featuring spawning in the south, utilizing the Ostripan doctrine. It is going to be Brosras. And spawning in the north, playing as the United States pieces, it is going to be Free HK. So I have no idea who Free HK is, but yeah, definitely massive shout out to just like the slogan Free HK. Yeah, if we don't respond to what's happening in Hong Kong today, it's going to be happening to us tomorrow. That is just the truth. Their struggle is epic, and I frankly think that the people of Hong Kong are heroes. So yeah, I don't know. I don't normally get political on the channel, but it seems like the politics has come to me today, so I thought I'd just throw that one out there. So, it looks like we've got an early Ostripan pick here, so it's going to be a Stripan doctrine. We're going to get to see Brosras play some Stripans. Spoilers, if you've not watched any games featuring Brosras on the channel in recent times, there have been several, and I'm going to start referencing them now. So, if you don't want to know how those games panned out, then please pause this video, stop it, and then go and watch some of the previous videos featuring Brosras, because, yeah. So, yeah, we've seen Brosras be pretty dominant recently on the channel. He is looking like a real force to be reckoned with, and this is a new take for him. We've not seen him go immediate Ostripan doctrine. We've not seen him utilize any Ostripan builds. So, yeah, we're going to see the cheap Stripan forces, 200 manpower for these 6-man squads. They're not super great in a fight to begin with, but my goodness, you can buy them the LMG-42. Crazy. I'm just familiarizing myself with what they can and can't do. So it looks like Free here going to come on down, start grabbing the cut-off point here. So a nice wedge being driven into the German line here. Being spearheaded by these brave riflemen. Now there's an MG-42 squad that was out on the field very rapidly here for Brosras, catching some American forces under the arc. So I imagine Brosras is going to be able to close the pocket on this advance. The rifleman going to get up into this building. That is also super annoying. We've got a WC-51 strat here coming down, which means, of course, that it is the mechanized company doctrine going to be the choice here for Free HK as we move forward in this game. WC-51 military truck roving around the field, looking to cause some damage. He knows, of course, that he's probably going to be relatively Faust-free until, well, for a few seconds at least. He's going to be okay. And yeah, so two very interesting builds here with applications throughout the entire game. Time was that the Mechanized Company was a very sort of early game oriented commander, but now he's been rebalanced in very interesting ways. Having access to this new cavalry rifleman ability is very interesting. Having the M3 half-track later on and the M4A3 Sherman with the Dozer blade, all very spicy stuff, which you get with this commander. So, yeah, just a really interesting commander and a refreshing break from the heavy cav doctrine that we see sort of taken on the regular by most American players. My goodness, look at this minimap. Look at this. Let's crack the tack and investigate this situation. What an interesting... These riflemen still hanging on behind enemy lines. We've got Axis forces also punching through to deny fuel. Neither player actually able to secure a fuel point right now. WC-51 trying to police Ostripan as best it can, but, yeah... Just a very interesting early game and opener from these two players. 50 cal upgrade is finished on the WC-51, so that represents significantly more firepower. Free HK as well, stockpiling manpower. Interesting stuff. Pardon me. I guess he wants to take a lieutenant at the earliest possible timing, I'm just guessing. I think 35 the fuel cost on a lieutenant. So, oh, he's already got the lieutenant. Ah, right, okay. Well, that explains that then. So, okay, so now he has the lieutenant and he immediately goes for the cavalry rifleman to accompany that geezer. We've got Panzer Grenadiers moving into the roster here from Brosras, so we're seeing a fairly atypical Wehrmacht versus US game here, which I'm really enjoying. That's nice. It's a refreshing change from the fairly meta builds that we've seen dominating on the channel recently. So, yeah, very excited about that. Sorry, I'm just... adjusting my steps. So we've got a 50 cal being the follow-up here, and you have to think that that does make sense when you know you're facing the Stripan doctrine. Of course, the Stripan commander known for being able to provide the Axis player with more numerous but kind of more worse Axis units. So having a 50 cal to police the more numerous infantry squads that you expect to be facing in this game does make a lot of sense here for Free HK. And where are these cav riflemen being deployed to? So they are heading out into the east of the map right now. So these guys have got the little grease guns here. Check. And you can upgrade them with Tommies. So they're going to be pretty beefy. Those are grease guns, right? Yeah. I I think so. Pretty sure those are grease guns. MG42 coming in here. Did Brosras see these heavy these cav riflemen on his flank? Okay, he does now, because this MG team is pretty exposed. Tommy gun upgrade is coming up. Scuffle going on in mid as American riflemen trying to get onto the point, but Ostripan have Overwatch from a building there. Whoa! He loses a rifleman squad. Yikes! Oh my god, these Panzer Grenadiers of Brosras drawing first blood in this game, and that's pretty devastating. I didn't actually catch the circumstances of how that went down, but feels bad, man. So, okay, the Panzer Grenadiers get forced out. WC-51, Cavalry Riflemen in the hood there. Tommy gun upgrade is finished, so their DPS now substantially improved. 50 cal finds itself in a nice building here. These Struppen giving a good account of themselves, forcing back a Rifleman squad, but they won't be able to stay here for that long. And, oh my goodness me, we've got a 251 half-track on the queue here. Say what? So, like the Mechanized Company and Medical Bunker has finished for Brosras. And we're going to be moving into a half-track build. Brosras bringing something a bit left field here. I'm loving what I'm seeing. Any build that involves a reinforcement half-track, I'm always like 100% behind. Of course, he's probably just building this for the Flammenwerfers, but... Oh, he cancelled. Did he cancel it? Yeah, he cancels it. Okay. Brosras, you know what? A thing that I see StarCraft players do quite a lot, and I don't see in most other RTSs, particularly Protoss players, is they will build a unit on the assumption that they're not going to let that unit complete. But by building the unit and having it sort of having its progress increase, like see this Pat gun, see its progress is increasing here. They cancel it at the last second if they don't need it, but by taking it at an early time and then being ready to cancel it, if it turns out that you do think you need it, you can let the unit finish. Traditionally, Protoss players, at least in StarCraft 2, sometimes do this in the early game with a Zealot. So you build the Zealot as a safeguard against enemy aggression in the very early stages of the game. If that aggression does materialize, then you let the Zealot finish, and it pops out more or less when your opponent's, Marines or Zerglings are running into your base. But if your opponent is doing a more standard opening and is not applying super early pressure to you, then you just cancel the Zealot, get back the full money, and go into a sort of macro build. So Brosras using a similar sort of thing. I see him do this quite a lot. He'll take units, like, I think we've seen him put, like, various tanks on the build queue and then cancel them when they're about to complete, and that's really cool because it lets him just kind of decide just before they finish whether he actually wants them or not. So yeah, Brosras, one of the few players I've seen sort of changing his mind in this manner and making use of the way that RTS build queues work. And just taking advantage of that mechanic is pretty cool. I like it. We've got a Stuart build coming up here. Two squads of cavalry riflemen, I should say. Free HK developing his roster nicely here. Second squad of Panzer Grenadiers and a Pat gun mixed into the roster here for Brosras. So he is declining to be caught with his pants down when it comes to anti-tank resources here. So often when I see Vermac players, just the first T-70 or the Stuart hits the field and it's just like, whoops, wish I had a Pat gun. And you just kind of have to like deal with the T-70 or the Stuart just dominating the field for like a minute while you get the Pat gun out. Not for Brosras. He gets the Pat gun out at a reasonable timing here. I mean, he knows it's Lieutenant Tech, so he's got to be expecting a utility car or a Stuart, and based on the fact that we haven't had a utility car on the field, he pretty much knows it has to be a Stuart, so he gets the Pat gun out. And let's just crack the tack here. Lots of back and forth field control. Brosras doing really well, but now it looks like American forces are here and hungry for the cutoff, which they do get. So Brosras under the gun right now, shortly to be under a triple cap. He has some Panzer Grenadiers out on the map, but not for long. They're going to be forced back by that Stuart. And Brosras basically forced back to the doorstep of his base. Free HK closing the noose here, tightening the rope. This is pretty dangerous stuff. Pardon me. And let's just quickly check the tech for our Axis player here. Okay, no sign of Battle Phase 2 just yet. So, okay, Brosras in a bad way. Not often I get to say that. That's not far from... I mean, this is definitely not game over by any means, but he's definitely under the pressure right now. Free HK and this Mechanized Doctrine... It is Mechanized, yeah, Mechanized Company. Really heaping on the pressure here. WC-51 actually, 4 kills, 2 stars of veterancy on that one, really nice. 50 cal has Overwatch on this position, so this is probably going to be a forlorn hope. These Ostripan coming forwards here. Flammenwerfer actually manages to get into a nice flanking position onto the 50 cal, so actually maybe not. Struppen's pushing up, Faust connects with the WC-51, and just when I thought it was looking grim for Brosras, he finds a way to reverse the situation, cunning maneuvering on his infantry, getting up into a nice position with the Flammenwerfer, great stuff. Still an unchecked unit of rear Esh eating up ground for Free HK, so something's still going his way on the map, but Brosras throwing off the shackles of American domination here, and moving out onto the map. Panzer Grenadiers running down into the east of the map, backed up by Struppen as well, going to be eating up some ground. Obviously he's reconnected his cutoff point, so his resources are flowing once again. Free HK doing a really nice job here, scoreline about even. Yeah, Free HK doing a really nice job of pushing Brosras back, but you know, now he has to spend a minute where all of his units are off the line. Brosras has free reign of the field, and that is always a scary place to be. Also, I understand that Ostrupen are cheap units, so they vet up relatively quickly. But look at the amounts of veterancy we've got popping up over this army. There's only like 1 or 2 stars over this American force. Not often you get to see that sort of veterancy disparity in a game. I'm sure it will be addressed as the game goes on, and those more expensive American units find their next few hits and get some more veterancy, but suffice to say, Brosras looking pretty smart in this game. Pardon me.
Holy mackerel! That did it!
Okay.
We are losing a sector.
Geez, just constant fighting going on. I mean, I suppose that is the nature of Crossroads. Wow, double Panzer Grenadier just absolutely taking it out on these riflemen. They are forced to GTFO, and it looks like an MG42 and a nice structure suppressing various American units that are in that area. The Stuart, sorry, it's the WC-51 going to be capping the fuel point here. So Free HK putting up a great display here. I wonder who Free HK is, to be honest. I wonder if this is one of the more famous players on the scene who's just taken on a different screen name here. Because this guy, I've never seen him before, but he's playing super well. I mean, that's not to say that this could even be a close game. Brosras might just be about to step on him like a roach, but it doesn't look like it yet, and I'm liking a lot of these moves that I'm seeing from Free HK. Really nice stuff. But right now, Brosras on the offense. He's pushing up in various areas of the map. Pack gun here, probably going to find the WC-51. Oh, an unlucky miss for Brosras there. The WC-51 going to step on it in reverse and get out of there. So that makes a lot of sense. We've got a Stug E on the field, afforded to Brosras by his Ostrupen Doctrine commander. This one of the other commanders, of course, that has the access to the Stug E. And this is a real nice choice. Look at all these units in the top right. The Stug E will boss them around. Mortar Tube being added into the American roster as well. So Free HK, no slouch when it comes to diversifying his roster. Crossroads, because it's a relatively small and brutal map, also going to be a relatively good map for the American mortar tube to come out on. And also the American mortar tube, just one of the more fast-firing, accurate, brutal mortar tubes to deal with. As we saw there, that shell just kind of getting a plumb hit on those Panzer Grenadiers. Stug E coming in for the ambush on this WC-51. Flonk. Actually going to prioritize hitting those rear ash. I'm loving the choice of the Stug E here. It does make a lot of sense. Let's quickly check the tech here. So we've got Battle Phase 2 finished, of course. That's why we see the Stug E's, I suppose. Does he doesn't need the Support Armor Core for that, does he? No. Alright, so knowing Brosras, I feel like he's probably going to try and go to Battle Phase 3 next and just like try not to get mired in Battle Phase 2 tech. But we will see. He's proven to be a flexible and cunning commander, and if he believes that he needs a choice from the Support Armor Core, I'm sure he will build that building. So we'll see. Stuart still being active on the map. That thing has been relatively unpoliced. The Pack gun yet to really find any true shots onto that unit. Yeah, just looks like Brosras actually just going to be flumping this building down, has no interest in letting the American forces continue to use that building. Stuart here going to try and keep these Ostrupen back. We got Pioneers pushing in the east, WC-51 pushing in the west. Just quite a brutal game here that we've seen going on. Major tech has just come up for the American player. Oh my god, this mortar as well, making life pretty difficult. It's come to a nice forward position. This is a nice position where it has overwatch over the middle position and can tax any Axis infantry trying to push into its arc. And oh my goodness, that we are seeing. The American mortar tube's just so good. Look at this, nearly 1-star veterancy already. I feel like we haven't even seen it miss yet. So Stuart goes down here. I didn't actually see what that was on. Was it telemines? Could have been the Pack gun? I feel like it was probably telemines. I'm not actually sure. The Stuart goes down just off of camera there, and my attention was focused elsewhere. But anyway, the Stuart does get taken out. So finally, the first telling blow being dealt here, and it's Brosras who emerges on top, scoring a kill on a fuel-costing unit. Always nice. And the Stug E now more free than ever to police the field. Doesn't have to worry about those annoying abilities on the Stuart. Okay, well, Major Tech is here, though. There's a brief window of time where there isn't really any anti-armor solution in this army. I don't think weapon rack's ever finished for the American players so far. Donk, this is Stuggy, just so cool. So I don't think weapon rack's finished. I don't think we're going to see Zoops. He doesn't quite have Sherman money yet, and since he's just lost his Stuart, he doesn't really have any anti-armor. Obviously, there's no Captain Tech, so we're not going to see an M1AT gun anytime soon either. So... oh, possible squad wipe going down here. Possible squad wipe on, yeah, on these Panzer Grenadiers as well. Looks like both players going to flukily escape with their units there. That was a pretty close moment there. Ostrapen bravely going to get up into this turbo-damaged building. Mortar could cause damage to this building and bring it down, so Brosras going to have to be cognizant of the mortar shells hitting that building. Cav Rifleman as well, moving up to challenge that building. And the 50 cal probably going to put the finishing touches on these Struppen. These Struppen getting so low, they're a very fragile unit as well. So, okay, there we go. Brosras, his multitasking almost second to none at this point. Going to be able to get those guys out of there. Sherman is indeed going to be the tech of choice. Free HK identifying that he needs all of the features provided by the Sherman right now. He needs the AT rounds to help deal with the Stug E and any further armored choices that Brosras is going to put down. And also the HE rounds are just the Sherman's general mobility. And the machine guns mounted on it, going to be super effective against the most of the Axis roster here. Losing a squad of Ostrapen at some point during that last phase of exchange as well was Brosras. Sorry I missed that one as well, but there was just so much combat going on all over the map. We've got additional telemines coming down here as well. So Brosras, I mean, that's a relatively canny location for a telemine. You would not expect that to be there as the American player. So, yeah, liking these choices here from Brosras. Pretty sure we already saw some of his mines pay off. This WC-51, speaking of paying off, 3 stars of vet. Pretty cool. Yeah. So Riflemen going to reveal themselves. They were lurking down here in the east of map. It looks like a massive American assault going to be mounted on mid here. Mortar is in support. 50 cal likewise. Going to catch these Panzer Grenadiers under the arc. Flammenwerfer for Pioneers actually insufficient to prevent the advance of these Cav Riflemen. But the Stuggy ought to be able to shove these guys away. Ooh, they're getting utterly flumped. They are under the arc of an MG. So there we go. The cap is just not going to be a reality here for the American forces, taking an awkward fallback route as well, these riflemen, but they're going to be okay. Stuart comes out immediately, HE shells are loaded, and it is ready to rock and roll, forces back the Panzer Grenadiers. Somehow these riflemen find themselves deep behind enemy lines. They don't get the anti-vehicle rifle grenade. Oh my god, taking a heavy round to the face there from this Stuggy. They have to fall back, they're so low. How are these riflemen staying around? Oh no, that should be a squad wipe. There ought to be no way that this guy's getting out of here. Yep, there we go. So Brosras, I mean, that was an overextension really by Free HK. Once he took that round to the face from the Stuggy, which depleted the health off of most of the infantry models in that unit, I think he had no business staying around for extra damage. I don't think that was the correct decision, and he was punished for it. MG42 gets recruit here. Struppen squad should be able to exfiltrate safely. There's an S minefield back here as well. So Brosras, fed up of having his cut off, is going to put the S minefield down on there. This Stuggy is just getting value, man. 2 stars veterancy, the armored skirts come down. It's just been flumping away at American infantry, looking pretty sweet this whole game. Wouldn't hate him getting another one at some point in this game, but he needs a different choice first, and to that end we've got a heavy Panzer Corps on the way, so... let's see. Brosras actually with good amounts of fuel, so by the time he has the manpower, he could go for a Panther. I mean, he's going to get to have his choice of a heavy Panzer Corps unit, whatever he wants. The Stuggy just flumping down on this 50 cal team. Oh, they're going to have to get out of there. Horrendous amounts of damage. Patgun also finding this Sherman. You know what? It's been a long time since I saw a Sherman be good. Like, just, I know that this is the M4A3 Sherman, which is like slightly betterer, but I don't know. Sherman's just not looking super strong these days, which is weird because it's a medium tank with a lot of advantages. So anyway, I think it's not that the Sherman isn't powerful. I just think it's like incidentally, by the time it comes out, the answers are normally just there. I don't know, that's how it feels. So, alright, keep your eyes on the top left here. We're going to see Brosras make a fuel unit choice momentarily, I would have thought. And that will give us some idea as to how he attempts, or what he thinks his opponent is going to do, and how he wants to navigate this game forward. Is it going to be a Panzerwerfer? Is it going to be a Brummbart? Is it going to be a Panther? I humbly submit that it's probably going to be a Panther, because he's floating enough fuel. The Panther is objectively the strongest of those choices in a vacuum. He doesn't really need a Brummbart because so much of the functionality overlaps with this Stug E, which is doing just fine, and you know, he could take another Stug E for a sort of Brummbart light. Oh no, he's going to lose some Struppens here though. Oh, Brosras, gotta be careful, he's down to just 1 squad of Struppens. He's even giving away an LMG onto a squad of a captain squad. So Captain Tech has even arrived as well. Combat going on all over the map. This is just one of the harder games to cast. It's just awesome. Pure action occurring all of the time. But yeah, so I think it's probably got to be a Panther. I don't really see how as the Axis player you're going to continue in this game without some sort of decent anti-tank option. I mean, 2 pack guns is actually reasonable. Crossroads is a small map, so Brosras flumping this 50 cal down. God damn, this Stug has just been value. Like, every shell is just hitting its mark. The rate of fire is, like, ferocious. It's just worrying times to be an American right now. So, okay. Brosras is going to cement control over middle of the map. The Major going to come forwards into the teeth of an MG42. A major artillery strike gets used, though, so we may see this MG42 get gibbed. It doesn't look like Brosras has any interest, or maybe he didn't spot the strike coming down. All right, the first shell, bang on target. This guy's going to try and pack up the MG and run away, and actually he's going to get away with it. He's going to get away with it. But a nice use of the major artillery barrage there. Definitely finding its mark and scoring some damage. Panther is indeed the choice for Brosras. Makes a lot of sense. That basically rounds off this Axis roster nicely. I'm slightly concerned that he doesn't have enough core infantry. Gonna come through for some cheeky attack round, flump rounds into the American base with the Stuggy here. Nice stuff. Takes some damage onto the Stuggy, gets its 3rd star of veterancy. So he has to be careful with that one. M1 anti-tank gun has appeared on the field, of course, because we do have the Captain Tech. So Free HK does have access to that unit. Shrek's even starting to appear on the Panzer Grenadiers now as well. So both players identifying that the late game has been reached, and we need good anti-tank resources to deal with these late game units that are coming out. Now Free HK up to nearly, well, so he's on 125 fuel. If he piles up a little bit of manpower around about this juncture, he should reach the point where he can take his choice of fuel unit as well. So his choice of end tier unit, really. So what should he get? Well, he knows it's a Panther now, so that should inform his choice to some extent. So I guess he can go for... A Scot seems off the cards right now. I don't think you're going to get away with a Scot, although you'd love to. This is one of the best maps for a Scot. But I just think the Panther will be able to poke it down from range. Your opponent just already has the tools where a Scot is just not going to be very good. So then I think... I mean, the Jackson always looks appealing, but the only real target for the Jackson is this Panther, and this Panther is actually not that great against infantry, so it almost feels like a shame to give the Panther a target that it's good against. Or another Sherman. So I don't think you can really justify going for another Sherman against the Panther, so I think it kind of has to be Jackson, but none of these choices feel great.
The capture point is under attack.
Alright, moment of quiet here. Looks like both players just drawing the battle lines. American forces going to respond to a sneaky squad of Struppen that's gotten through in the west here. That'll be forced back immediately, but because the American forces are responding to that, Brosras is able to come in here with the Panther. The M1 anti-tank gun going to ward that one away. Brosras going up to 2 squads of Pioneers. To be honest, I'm surprised it took him this long. He is one of the players I see goes for the 2nd support infantry squad at a much earlier time. You watch when he plays Soviets, when he plays pretty much any faction, he always goes for the 2nd repair squad, or whatever that might be for the faction, at a really early juncture. And that's part of what makes him such a menace. His vehicles are just always turning around so quickly, getting repaired so quickly. Squad wipe there, coming down on the 50 cal. So yeah, looks like it will be a Jackson here for Free HK, standard stuff. Yeah, I think it basically has to be a Jackson. So from here, I mean, I would like Brosras to go for either a Brumbar or another Stug-E. I think if you're feeling really ballsy, just go for the Brumbar, man. I would like that a lot. It would be great fun to watch. So we've got a big fight coming down here. Panther chewing into the M1 anti-tank gun. Flammenwerfer Pioneers likewise getting up on top of that. The M1 is going to go down. The Sherman here just not enough to deal with such reckless Panther. The Stug-E dominant on the field, finding some epic hits in the American infantry. Bloodied, broken, and defeated, must flee the field. The Jackson comes in, but it's too little too late. There's no support here. It can't stay and fight. 2 pack guns just absolutely happy to be taking shots into that, and wow, Free HK decides the situation unretrievable. He has seen enough and will be leaving this game. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that was a slightly early, a slightly premature GG. Yeah, things look really, really, really bad, okay? You've just lost a huge fight at a pivotal moment in the game, but you actually got out of there with a lot of your units. Okay, yeah, you lost a couple of weapon crews out here, but weapon crews are the most fragile and, to some extent, replaceable units to lose. Did he lose the Sherman in this? I don't think he did. Oh, wait. Where's... Oh. Okay, I didn't realize he lost the Sherman. But even with the Sherman down, I mean, if you're playing for $10,000, you definitely stay in this game. I mean, you can fall back. This is definitely not a 0%er. I would even say that this is definitely not like a 95%er. I really think at free HK, he has an incredibly hard road in this game. It's very, very bad. It is utterly terrible, this situation. But if you were playing for $10,000, since it's not a 0%er, I really think that you could have a... There's still some play left in this game, let me put it that way. But if you're just playing on the ladder, which these guys are, it's absolutely fine to leave this one and just be like, yeah, sure, I don't think I'm going to win this one, and step out the door. That's up to you. So I'm going to go jump into another one, seeing as how we got Brosras on the ladder right now and a couple of other big names. Let's see what else we can find on this Wednesday cast. Alrighty then. Okay, so we've got Asher Bloy and Jove, but that only starts in 3 minutes. We've got CaptainSPrice against Who Run Bartertown. We've got two players that I don't actually recognise. We've got Brosras is playing against Malwon Bog, but that game also not starting for 6 minutes. We've got Some Kanji versus Nevermind Dude. Me Love Me Young Sung, Type Live of Phoenix, CC Art, and Von Lutzau. I would quite like to see Asher Bloy vs Jove. I mean, the alternative is CaptainSPrice versus Who Run Bartertown on Vilshanka, which is available right now. CaptainSPrice does bring the spice. And Bartertown is also a high-end player. Sorry, I'm being super indecisive right now. Alright, let's jump into this price game. Let's do it. So it looks like we've got Price here rocking with the this is the, like, what is this guy's name? Oh, it popped up. Elite Troops Doctrine. Alright, so what does he do these days? Still got the Tiger Ace, Panzertac, Stormtroopers, Jaeger Light Infantry upgrade, and the Model 24 stun grenades. So effectively a relatively early game commander, really, but for the Tiger Ace. Very interesting. I wonder what the Tiger Ace actually costs these days. Well, we might get to see. Okay, so spawning in the west here, playing on Vilshanka, spawning as the Wehrmacht pieces. It is going to be CaptainSPrice. And spawning in the east, playing as the Soviet pieces. It's going to be Who Run Bartertown. And it looks like we've lucked out big time here, and we've actually got CaptainSPrice spawning in the west with the HUD with him on the left. Who Run Bartertown spawning in the east with the HUD with him on the right. Lovely stuff. Looks like Who Run Bart. So, well, let's overview these commanders while the two players move out. We got the good old mechanized assault doctrine, probably historically one of the most chosen commanders for Wehrmacht. We've got the rarely seen these days Elite Troops Doctrine, and I would like to see what the Tiger Ace is about these days. And we've got the Spearhead Doctrine, which seems to be making a massive resurgence. Not super popular back in the day, pardon me, but one of the best all-round Axis commanders, and definitely one of my favourites. Bartertown running with the Soviet Airborne Doctrine, so just a really interesting, pardon me, doctrine. He's also got the Urban Defense Tactics, so this guy gets the forward HQ, which you can put down on certain structures. A very map-dependent commander, that one, because of the ability which requires a structure to be designate a forward HQ or build a field camp. Build a field camp. Does this mean that you can now just build a field camp without having a structure there? Because if so, this commander becomes a lot less map dependent. This commander used to be really great on certain maps, and on those maps that he was good on, he was good until your forward HQ got destroyed, but you could never rebuild those buildings because they were like ambient structures. But by the sound of it, you can now just build a forward fallback point, which is great and makes this commander a much better choice. Also has access to the great light anti-tank gun, the M42, you know, shock troops and booby trap territory, which are all very useful, and the KV2, a nice late game tool. And then we've got this guy on the end who he's one of the generic ones. I just can't remember him. So who this is? Armored Assault Tactics gives you the radio intercept, the T-34-85, vehicle crew repair training, IL-2 Sturmovik attacks, and the IS-2 heavy tank in the late game. So yeah, I think this is the IS-2 commander who we see used the most often, I think. Not a commander I'm particularly enamoured with, but I'm sure he plays just fine. MG42 here, following Pioneers onto the field. Looks like we got quad conscripts the opener here for Bartertown. Price stacking a lot of manpower. What are you up to, Price? I dare say this is hopeless, mate. You're fighting with 2 squads of Pioneers and an MG against, like, lots of conscripts.
Are securing our territory.
So Price, what are you up to? Are you saving for an Assault Grenadiers build? But you can get them at command point 0, so I don't think it's that. Is this going to be a Stormtrooper build?
The enemy is taking our territory.
This is why I always like Captain Price, man. Sometimes he does weird stuff, and I think we're seeing that now. Okay, it's going to be a Panzergren. So he's going for super early, or like relatively early battle phase 1 into, this is going to be a Panzergren build. Okay. Alright, that actually makes a lot more sense than everything I thought of. I'm still so not used to the new Wehrmacht tech tree. Okay, awesome. Alright. Love it. Wow, Panzer Grenadiers are gonna make conscripts look like little kleine Kinder. This is gonna be pretty good. Well, we'll see. It all comes down to the engagements, of course. Conscripts totally capable of putting together a fight against Panzer Grenadiers, and also Panzer Grenadiers feed a massive amount of veterancy onto conscripts. So look at this, yeah, you see, running into a conscript gun line, already lost 1 Panzer Grenadier on the way in. Heavy cover all round. Okay, now the conscripts start going down like flies. Panzer Grenadiers got pretty good DPS once getting up close. Who run Bartertown? On top of the situation, does get the fallback, trading up 4 of his conscripts though. Nasty stuff. MG42 here, catching some more conscripts under the arc. Looks like Pioneers running around out here. Where are the other Panzer Grens? Here they are. Ja? 1 foot in front of the other, Kinder. So... Alright, so Price gave up a lot of early map control on this map by delaying his resource spending for so long to get the Panzer Grenadiers, but now that he has Battle Phase 2, I mean, he's still stacking manpower. He could go for a 3rd squad of Panzer Grens if that was his intention, but seemingly it isn't. Okay, it is 3rd squad of Panzer Grenadiers. Alright. But I feel like you've let Bartertown have quite the advantage early on, like opening up quite the scoreline differential. We're not even 5 minutes in, 60 tickets. You know, you've totally let the Soviet player control this line of the map and have a connected fuel pretty much the entire time. In fact, I feel like it's pretty lucky that Bartertown's letting Price get away with this fuel point, to be honest. Okay, the MG42 has Overwatch, so starting to make more sense how that one's remaining in Axis hands right now. Additional Panzer Grenadiers deploying to the field. 3 squads of Panzer Grenadiers, representing a very spicy mobile fighting style. But I just feel if Bartertown catches on to this, he could throw down a support weapon Campanile and get 2 Maxims, and then what do you do? Like, I think life gets very difficult then. So, okay, it is going to be a support weapon Campanile. I don't know, I'm a bit worried here. I just think Maxims are just going to wreck what Price is doing.
Bunker is now a field hospital.
You're going to have to forgive my unprofessionalism, but it's actually quite cold in here, and my hoodie is in the other room, so I'm just going to run and grab it. I will be 1 second.
Our opponents are seizing a sector. The enemy has driven a wedge in our lines.
Okay, sorry about that. That's better. Right. Okay, so what did I miss? Seemingly not too much. Actually, whoa, somehow Price has gotten 2 of the VPs. Nice work. Panzer Grenadiers grabbing south. Looks like Soviet forces going to be retaking mid. No choice yet from the support weapon Campanile. Actually, we've got a fairly rapid Tank of E Battalion command finishing up right now for the Soviet player, so we're going to probably have a T-70. I would have thought. It's Armored Assault Tactics going to be the pick here. So, that's what Bartertown fancies his choices with, his chances with, sorry. And it's going to be a 251 half-track. Okay, Price is just doing weird stuff. 251 half-track, T70. So Light the Mechanized Company did finish here. Axis forces right now dominant on the map. Able to shove these conscripts away. 4 squads of conscripts. There's only so much they can do against an MG and 3 squads of Panzergrenadiers.
Half-track has arrived.
That's a 251 half-track. Flammenwerfer upgrade comes down immediately. But what's the plan for the T70? This is going to be quite a late pack gun. There's no munitions for Shreks, unless they've already been spent, actually. But they would have gone on that Flammenwerfer, yeah. So no Shreks coming down. Come on, Company of Heroes. There we go. Okay, big old Blobo Conscripts comes out. T70 immediately reveals itself. 251 half-track has to GTFO. Probably didn't quite get spotted there by the Soviet player, but if his ears are sharp, then he will have heard the engine, so he knows something's out here. I mean, I don't really like this for Price, because this T70 just owns the battlefield right now. It beats everything. And look, you can see the entire German army forced to retreat. A 222, nope, changes his mind. Pack gun going to be the choice. But this is what I was saying. This is a very late pack gun. Very late. Too late. Too late. Too late. So, okay, yeah, the Soviet player can just capture whatever he wants right now. Whatever they want. And, I mean, this is rough. Because we've already given the Soviet player early field control. There's basically an 80-point scoreline differential right now, which, for this early juncture in the game, not ideal. And now Price is under a triple cap, and the pack gun just now coming onto the field. And it's going to have to waddle forwards. And if this pack gun gets jumped up on by conscripts and or a T-70, it's like bad times. And that's a Maxim. And I was a bit afraid about what Maxims might do to this roster. Okay, Shreks have come down on this Axis roster. So that's awesome. With the Shreks, this is a respectable anti-tank position now for Price. With the pack gun with the Shreks. Pack gun gets scouted, Shreks likewise. Pack gun finds a hit, actually. Oh, finds a shot, but no hit. He even stopped the Flammenwerfer upgrade to get Shreks. So this really did take Captain Price by... well, not necessarily by surprise, but it really did throw a spanner in the works. Those... conscripts here, luring the flak half-track forward. There are mines here, so many mines. And now the Panzergrenadiers coming forward, looking for the mine hits. You can see Bartertown just expertly trying to lure Price into these mines. Does get one hit on the Panzergrenadiers. Not the end of the world there for Price. Zisgun going to be the choice here for Bartertown. And Price probably getting out of that a lot better than I thought. Like, that could have looked utterly dire. This half-track, you don't really want to throw it away now. 85 is quite a cost for those flame projectors, and the half-track is like 30 fuel, 200 manpower, something like that. So, I mean, you don't want to be, you don't really want to be losing this unit, and it's very fragile. And we sort of, I mean, if this half-track would have come out at the timing it was going to come out at, and just like started flaminating everyone, that would have been fine. But like, the impact, it's coming out so late now. I wonder if it's actually even going to be any good, because now the Soviet player has a Zisgun. And probably tank buster grenade. Well, of course, tank buster. Whoa, he doesn't actually have tank buster grenades. They must be researching. Okay, they're on their way. So the Soviet player has got all the tools he needs to deal with a Flammenwerfer half-track. So this doesn't look that nice for CaptainSPrice. This is just a weird strat, and like, you know, he's trailing now nearly 170 odd tickets. I don't know. I applaud Captain Price for trying something different, but I just wonder if your opponent goes for a T-70, this just gets really difficult. The Zisgun even finding the half-track there very nicely. Panzergrenadier is going to come forward to force that one away. Pack gun finds the T-70 there momentarily, so these are the critical points of this phase of combat. Is there no metal detector here for Price? No, so these mines just represent an ongoing threat. Be aware of those. Watch out for Axis units as they get near them. Maxim reveals itself, and again, this is a problem. MG42 going to be the next unit added in for Price, but this Maxim's a real issue. When you're dealing with quite elite infantry that really wants to close to mid-range, like Panzer Grenadiers. It's difficult when your opponent starts building Maxims. Yep, 2 Maxims. Loving the choices here from Bartertown. Price firmly on the back foot in terms of sort of how the tech war has gone. And that has informed how the scoreline differential has opened up.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Alright, so Soviet forces attempting to make a land grab here in south. Price cannot really allow the Soviet forces to hold this victory point. Panzer Grenadier is going to get up onto a nice range. Pat gun here has Overwatch to protect. There is a machine gun as well supporting these units. So those conscripts are forced out, and I imagine these ones will be shortly. Flammenwerfer half-track should be a good answer for those. T-70 now repaired, pushing forward fresh into mid. Panzer Grenadiers with the Shreks are in the hood, looking for some shots, unfortunately spoiling their rounds into some engineers right now. Flame half-track actually going to get a squad wipe. So that's pretty rough for the Soviet player. Should be a squad wipe, yeah. So Ziskan going to turn, but it's too late. And finding a wipe on your opponent's core infantry at this timing, a nice pickup for Price. This is the kind of thing he needs to get a bit of momentum going in this game. So now the Soviet player going to mix in a mortar squad. Well, I think I like this choice as well. So, okay, mortar squad. Okay, let's quickly check the tech for the Axis player. Bad moment, I know, because there's a huge fight happening. Alright, let's get back to it. Alright, artillery barrage comes down, the traditional counter to an MG42. It's from the Ziskan there. Ooshk! Oh, okay, he's gonna get out of there as close as you can be to dying, that squad, but does get out of there. That's fine. Nicely done by Price. Soviet forces here, they just want one of these 2 victory points. Look how close they are. They're so close. They just want this victory point. There's not so much to ask. Come on, Price. Let them have the victory point. Alright, Maxim gets set up, somehow claiming light cover in this little crater here. Very lucky. Panzer Grenadier is going to attempt to respond, but this is a Maxim. T-70 gets policed back by the Ziskan. Mortar squad going to be zeroing in on these suppressed Panzer Grenadiers, and Price will have to yield this middle VP. No, what? Oh wow! The MG42 able to get the pin, I believe, on this Maxim, which forced it back. Second mortar squad. Ooh. I think I really like this. Wow, he's lost another conscript squad somewhere, actually, though. Okay, so now I worry that Bartertown actually running out of core infantry. Is this a mortar half-track? Spearhead Doctrine. Mortar half-track. Okay, the mortar half-track actually really nice. And a good counter to the amount of weapon teams that this Soviet player is committing to. Now with 2 Maxims, 2 mortar squads, a Ziskan. Plenty of nice weapon teams for that Axis GR34 mobile mortar half-track to use. And this seems like a really nice choice. Obviously the mortar half-track has a faster movement, is much more mobile. You don't have to set up teardown, and it just moves faster. And it has access to the incendiary round as well, which is a fantastic tool for denying victory points or for, DPSing concentrations of enemy targets. How much does that mortar incendiary round cost these days? 35, yeah. So, I mean, fairly usable. I mean, you don't want to be spending too many munitions on it, but, you know, when you see a good target and you reckon it's a good choice, you can go ahead and click that button without wasting too many munitions. Double mortar squad is intense, though, so I would love to see Price put down some incendiary, or just put down some barrages on them. This is turning into a bit of a mortar war. Love to see the mortar half-track, though. It's been so long since I've seen a game with the mortar half-track taken nice and early. And because it's one of these light, accurate, fast-firing mortar squads, look at this, just getting bare hits here on these Soviet units that really want to be firing from static positions. So this is a super appropriate counter. Price, for the first time in this game, I feel like he actually has a tech advantage over his opponent in this half-track. It's going to be able to tax Soviet advances, as well as just severely limiting the effectiveness of a lot of this roster. So, yeah, I love what I'm seeing. So we'll see if he decides to fire at the forward infantry units, or if he decides to continue trying to find targets at the back. We've just seen the first star of veterancy come up. That tells you how effective this unit has been. Takes a hit off the Ziskan, though, and it is a very fragile little half-track, so you do have to be careful with that one. And you know what, though? He's just going to keep flumping down the Zis gun. So what are the veterancy abilities on this thing? Counter barrage veteran ability. Increases rate of fire, so Vet 2 very important. Improves accuracy at Vet 3. So yeah, very important is the Vet 2 upgrade then. That'll be the most important one of the three to be getting. Often the way with Wehrmacht forces. Was that a squad wipe? Oh no, the Panzerschreck, Panzer Grenadiers get gibbed by a mortar shell. Wow, I've not seen a game like this for some time. We're catching some real special games today. Very nice little snowflakes that we're able to catch in action. And now, okay, so 436 for the Soviet player, 318 for Price. And at the moment, I feel like these two armies quite well matched. This is pretty much anyone's game. 3 MG42s. Yikes. No Soviet units active in the north of the map for quite a long time. And actually, you know what? Price finding a little opportunity to get something done here. Whoa, I don't know about using Panzer Grenadiers in the face of these mortar squads, though. It's so risky. Price does get the cap on mid. Nicely done, but I feel like it's time to start buying some other squads. I don't know. Maybe just some Grenadiers? He doesn't even have the infantry company, though, does he? No? Okay, so Grenadiers not a choice right now. Maybe just mix in some Pioneer squads, something a little bit cheaper where you don't mind about it getting hit by mortars so much. Panzer Grenadiers being hit by mortars is like eye-wateringly bad for Axis players. It just feels bad. So what are the Soviet mortar squads? They get reduces the cooldown of the flare ability. They get improved accuracy and rate of fire at Vet 2, and they get improved accuracy at Vet 3. So all interesting stuff. Okay. Somehow the Flame Half-Track and the T-70 all alive, but we've got 4 Shreks on these Panzergrens now, as well as a Pack Gun, and we've got like Zis Gun with AT conscripts, so it's just become a real no man's land standoff. This road going from north-south on the map has become the no man's land. Both of these players entrenching in hard with weapon teams, and it's very hard to make any ground because both players have a lot of machine guns, they both have mortars, they both have infantry that is just fine receiving an advance. So yeah, this is a really tough position. Let's quickly check the tech here. Okay, so Mechanized Armor Campanier has finished for the Soviet player, and this means, of course, he'll have access to the top tier of Soviet weaponry. He's probably, well, he's certainly going for an IS-2 though. If you look at his resources, he's got the IS-2 bubble building up here, and he's shortly to have access to that unit. 8 command points, 8.5 right now, needs the 10 for the IS-2, but he'll have that one in a timely fashion. Price going to need to find an answer for that. Let's check the tech here. So he's going to Battle Phase 3. I imagine it'll be a Panther. You can see how much fuel he's floating. Panther does make sense on this battlefield. It's a very good late-game insurance plan. But I mean, if it weren't for the fact that the Soviet player is teching up and probably going to be taking an IS-2, this would actually be an okay battlefield for a Brumbar, wouldn't it? Because we're dealing with very static sort of gunline, no man's land sort of style scenario here. And assault guns are traditionally very good at breaking those kinds of deadlocks because you can just sort of push your opponent's line back by repeatedly flumping huge high explosive shells in there. Price going to find these mines, but he's going to be denied the opportunity to defuse them there. So yes. Yeah, if it weren't for the fact that he definitely has to think about dealing with an IS-2, this would be a fine time for a Brumbar. And I would like to see a Brumbar as this game goes on. We'll see, we'll see. Panzerwerfer would also be okay, but damn it, I want to see a Brumbar. But it will be Panther first, almost certainly. There are some Pioneers back here. No Schwerer at HQ has been built yet, but that'll be on its way momentarily. And alright, so Price trying to make something happen. Looks like some Soviet units did try and challenge north, but they ran into that MG42, which has been there basically all game. Bundaroo grenade coming down, but not for any real effect. And there's no MG with Overwatch here. Mortar half-track doing its best to flump down these MGs, but the real story is these conscripts who are going to be able to get up on top of this point and put Price back under the clock. Where is this mortar half-track? 2 stars on that thing now, so it does have the enhanced rate of fire. Man, I love microing mortar half-tracks. They're so cool. Alright, Right, so what is this? Okay, so the T-70 going to respond up here. It's going to get hit by some Shreks. Dong. Still doing ferocious damage to these Panzergrens, forcing them back. I feel like with this strat, you really want to pick the Ostrapen Doctrine. Because you can still build GR34s if you really want to. I mean, you don't really want to build the infantry company if you're going for Ostrapen, but I feel like what Price needs right now is cheap, ablative infantry that he can use to push onto these points. And then, like, when the Maxims and the Mortars and the T-70s of this world start corralling and repositioning and bringing their weapons to bear against your cheap Ostrapens, then your second wave Panzer Grenadiers can come around the flanks, they can find angles onto T-70s, they can try and get up on top of weapon teams, they can, or, you know, your Ostrapen can... I just feel like this is a game where Price, what he needs is some cheap ablative infantry, so he could build more Pioneer squads, but I just think the style Price is playing, I feel like it would have been better if he'd have gone for an Ostrapen build. Maybe that's just because we were just watching Ostrapen just now, but I just feel like he just needs some cheap units to hide behind. I suppose, though, it's fair to say, this game hasn't really gone the way Price was expecting. You could tell that from his early build. The way he saved up money for Panzer Grenadiers, the way his Flam half-track got pushed away by T-70 Zisgun. You know, this is not the way Price saw this plan unfolding, and he's doing the best with the way things have panned out, and he's not doing too badly. Trailing by 100 tickets, but essentially an even game in most other respects. Soviet player, though, is edging forward. I feel like... Okay, he does go for the second mortar half-track. I was going to say, I genuinely feel like Price needs another mortar half-track. Like, he's just getting shoved about too hard in the middle of the map. Has he built that Schwerpanzer HQ yet? Nope. He needs to build that, because now there's an IS-2 here. So, yeah, the double mortar half-track seems essential. Because you get targets like this. Oh, this is a Tiger Commander? Of course it is. Sorry, I totally wasn't paying attention. Okay, so he's just going to Tiger it. Alright, yeah, and the Tiger is a fine answer to the IS-2. How did I forget that this dual commander has the Tiger on? Of course it does. Right, well, it looks like we've got a Tiger versus IS-2 late game appearing here. Exciting stuff. Very exciting. So, okay, well, the Tiger's going to get the better end of this exchange. Until the veterancy starts piling on, the Tiger can really keep the IS-2 in check. It just, I believe, has the better anti-armor capability. Dansak finishes up. This is kind of such a mirrored game now. I'm really liking what I'm seeing, but the trouble is Price is under the clock, and he needs... Can he sneak some units up here? I feel like neither player really paying enough attention to this point here. There's a fat church here. You could get Overwatch with an MG onto... In fact, are there any windows that face that way? Well, anyway, you could get an MG into this building and then capture this point and put some mines down with Price, as Price, and I think that would be nice. IS-2 here looking to flump some infantry. Dong. But the Tiger here, just taking nice, juicy, veterancy feeding bites out of this IS-2. Comes forward. This is risky, mate. Whoa, you know your opponent has a Zisgun. Are we going to see some incendiary shells used? Not sure. There's a lot of fighting going on down here as well. MG42 going to be forfeit. A lot of conscripts. Double bundle grenade? That seems excessive. Price there wasting a ton of munitions. I think maybe he accidentally, like, that was a misclick or a accidental double click or something. Like, maybe he accidentally hit bundle grenade twice. So the mortars are able to find an AT gun, really nice. Zisgun getting destroyed there. Tiger coming in again and getting the better end of this IS-2 yet again. Zisgun gets recrewed instantly though, so the Tiger can't really stay and fight here. I don't like this for Price. He's just trading damage off of his Tiger now. In comes some Shrek-toting Panzer Grenadiers, but there's so many Maxims just waiting here. I feel like you need a third mortar half-track, and he actually has it coming. I feel like you really do need a third mortar half-track. This is such an intimidating Soviet roster. Or a Panzerwerfer. Or a Brumbar. You know what, a Brumbar is the solution. It really is, but he didn't have the fuel for that, so for now a third mortar half-track is fine. This is definitely a Brumbar territory, though. This is one of the rare times of Brumbar I feel like it would actually shine. But you know what? Price is just beating this line back. The furious rate of fire of the mortar, of the half-track mounted GR34 teams is actually just policing these weapon teams back so hard. Look at these shells raining in. They're coming in so fast. The IS-2 getting the worst end of all these trades against the Tiger, being forced back. Conscripts coming forward, but they'll just get munched down. There's a lot of Axis units back here. Look at these mortar half-tracks just plying their trade now. There's like a wall of 3 of them. Just getting kills, man. Just ranking up. Just getting veterancy. Just like, just giving them a taste. just a little sample. There's more in the post. This is just brutal. And but conscripts get on mid. This is the important bit. How is this flame half-track still alive? I feel like you have to trade this out and get a Brumbar into the roster. T-3485 going to be the next pick here for Bartertown. So that's nice. One of these, Price, just send one unit to North, please. Please, you can't just ignore North. Alright, so Price's line gets forced back. And that's bad times. The Soviet lines, well, the IS-2 is repaired. Everybody else moving out. Look at how rich of a target-rich environment this is for mortars. If you're firing mortars at the middle line of this infantry, you cannot miss. Like, the scatter on a GR-34 is probably about as big as this circle. So, like, you're just going to hit. It doesn't matter what. You're going to hit. And, the shells keep raining.
We have a new T-34 standing by.
T-34-85 on the field. Very nice stuff. You know, I was actually in Namibia earlier this year, and I saw a T-34. This is not a good time for this story, but yeah. Okay, wow, the frag strafing run comes in. That's an awesome ability. Finds its mark, but doesn't actually get any squad wipes. Intense amount of mortars raining in. Looks like the T-34-85 wants to come for a dive. He wants the mortar half-tracks. He's identified that this is his problem in this game, but Panzer Tactician is another ability you get with this commander. So annoying. Tiger Tank going to come in here. Does expose its rear armor towards the east, so the IS-2 for sure probably going to come in here and police the Tiger. Zisguns also have the Tiger in arc, taking many hits into its flank. The big tank's super low. Price can't actually afford to replace it right now. And that's the fatal Zis hit. He loses his Tiger. The IS-2 is just overrunning Axis infantry in disarray here. He manages to get the T-34-85 off of the back of some heroic Shrek-toting infantry. Loses his pack gun though. The Zis gun's still taking shots. He's lost one of his mortar half-tracks. This IS-2 wants the other one. Panzer Tac is used to protect it for now. But Huron Bartertown definitely getting the better end of that exchange. Of course, he got the Tiger. And the Zis guns. There's just not enough AT here for Price. There's just not enough. This is a horrible place now for Price to be in. Ah, man. I feel like we were going to have a really interesting mid and late game, and I think Price is just kind of crumpling a little bit. And, oh god, he can't be losing these guys. You cannot be losing this squad. And now the IS-2 feels confident enough. Just going to shove in here and look for damage. And that's great. This is classic Soviet tactics. This is so vintage, man. These two commanders have been in the game since release. Like, this is actual vintage action that we're seeing here. In fact, if I remember correctly, when these two commanders, like, everyone was a bit kind of annoyed, I suppose, when Company of Heroes 2 released, because the Tiger Tank and the Armored Assault Tactics Commander, you had to buy those on release of the game, and they were the only way when the game released, I think, to get the Tiger and the IS-2. So these two commanders were like the pinnacle of like pay to win when the game came out. Obviously, the game was changed shortly after, and I think Relic sort of realized that that was not the way to be doing things, and they opened these commanders up to just being unlocked by normal, like regular means. I think. I'm pretty sure I remember this being the case. I don't know. This was many years ago now. But yeah, so these two commanders have always been like sort of equivalents, the opposite number within each faction. So nice to see them facing down in 2019. So alright, Price is going to try and come forwards here, but I mean this is a lot of Maxim. He only has 2 mortar half-tracks now, one of them still very wounded. This is 4 Panzer Shreks though, and a pack gun, looking for this IS-2, finding some hits, getting some damage on. What is this ability here? He's using a fragmentation shell. Holy. Is that a new ability? I don't remember this being on the IS-2. So he just instantly gives a squad of Panzer Grenadiers with Shreks. A loss that CaptainSPrice cannot afford to sustain right now. It looks like Price is trying to save up for another Tiger. He doesn't have Schwer Panzer HQ, so that has to be it. There's a T-34-85 coming on here. The scoreline differential is opening up. And like, this, I feel like Price doesn't really... I just feel like the dam is bursting, and the Soviet water is beginning to. Yeah, I think those Panzer Grenadiers were like the last thumb in the dam, really, for Price. And without them, he has 1 pack gun against such reckless Soviet armor, and will be defeated here, I believe. I mean, this looks irretrievable for Price. He put up a heroic fight, and I do like his composition. I think there are some good ideas here, but I think it was a combination of this possibly not being the best map for his opener, and also his opener just being totally countered by what Bartertown was doing. I mean, if you're going for like flame half track off of the back of 3 Panzer Grenadier squads, and your opponent is going for like a T70 opener, things just look rough. The way the timings worked out, just it was rough. So, I mean, there's just no way back for Price from this position, right? He's going to get one more Tiger Tank. I suppose that's what he's hanging on for. He gets one more Tiger Tank. Which he'll have in just a moment here. And, I mean, then what? It's just not going to be enough. If this Tiger is microed like an absolute king and he gets some super lucky RNG in the fights with the IS-2. Okay, here comes the Tiger. I just feel like it's... I mean, there's a Zis gun, there's a T-34-85, there's an IS-2. No, what is this Tiger doing? Oh no, its turret is completely badly rotated right now. Oh no, what was that? MG42 gets gibbed, Pat gun super wounded. No core infantry remaining here for Price. The T-34-85 going to be used as a lure here to turn the Tiger. The IS-2 going to pounce from an unexpected quarter. Zis gun also getting set up to threaten this Tiger. Mortar half-track gets picked off in the Axis base by a nicely positioned Zis gun. In comes the IL-2 Sturmovik attack, so that's going to be active during this fight where the Tiger is trying to take out these tanks. Tiger actually gets the kill on the T-34-85. It is actually correctly oriented. Whoa, Price, you want to be reversing like this, I think. There we go, now he gets it, but it's a bit late. Front armor on that Tiger now brought to bear, but it's just this IS-2 is too much. At this range, there can be no win. Is he going to try and beat it on its turret traverse speed? I don't think that works either. And now the Zis gun sets up. 3-star Zis gun. I believe that's the second Tiger that Zis gun has destroyed. And that will be game. Wow. Who run Bartertown here, putting together a very, very solid Soviet game here. He opened up with a relatively stable and pretty old school kind of quad conscripts into T-70, and it just so happens that CaptainSPrice was trying something a little bit left field that just kind of got punished by that opener. And then Bartertown was able to mix in a couple of Maxims, and once the Maxims were on the map, Price just never really was able to advance past this point on the map. Like maybe once or twice he got some units past this line on the map, but not really. And it appears that sort of perhaps too late, Price manages to find this Northern VP, but I feel like this North VP was open for both players, like the whole game, and just nobody really had the time or resources to spare to come up here and grab it. But I really feel like there might have just been a window at some point where a player could have come up here, grabbed this point, left an MG on Overwatch, possibly put down some mines, or just even left one other squad up here guarding this point. And that could have been game-changing, especially for Price if he'd been able to do that. I think the Spearhead Doctrine honestly shining here. The mortar half-tracks were devastatingly effective. Well, not devastatingly, but they were very effective. It's just that they entered a battlefield where the opening game had been so bad, and they were really fighting fires that they just couldn't quite get under control. Yes, they were very effective against the Maxims, the Zis gun, the mortars. Those mortar half-tracks accumulated a number of kills and some considerable value against the Soviet army, but it wasn't game-changing. It was never enough to actually unroot Bartertown from this position, like along this line. And if you're not able to displace Bartertown from this area, you're just never going to win, really. I mean, those Maxim guns and the Zis guns with the mortars on support here just provided Bartertown with a seat of power that was unassailable by Price's early and mid-game composition. And then when the IS-2 arrived, it countered and deflected the Tiger perfectly, maintaining the status quo of power. And it was just a sort of status quo where Price was just, and only just, to be honest, just behind. And then things started to fall apart as soon as Price started losing any units. So the Tiger tank got picked out, which was a bit unlucky, but also, I mean, it was sort of overcommitted and just reversing from south to north along a line which Zisguns had covered, and it kind of really needed to be running towards the west. So that first Tiger got picked off, and after that, I mean, that was probably the tipping moment in the game. And then, you know, Price just... The trouble with Wehrmacht compositions so often is that their infantry squads are so fragile. And if the basis of your infantry roster is cemented into 3 Panzer Grenadier units, 2 of which with Shreks, if you lose any of those units at any point in the game, you can rarely spare the manpower as Wehrmacht to replace them. Wehrmacht in the late game, possibly one of the most, if not the most, susceptible to having a manpower shortage. You just need manpower for obviously reinforcing your squads, but also replacing your brittle 4-man, quite easily wiped when there's late game firepower flying around the map. Your infantry squads, you just will be needing to replace them. And are Panzer Grenadiers still 340 or something like that? Yeah, so I mean, they're an expensive squad to replace, which is relatively brittle, very fragile in the face of 2 Maxims, 2 mortars, random Zis shells, and Soviet armor. It doesn't take a lot to go wrong for your Panzer Grenadier squad to just be from full health, veterancy, and equipment to dead in like just very rapidly, almost the blink of an eye. It can feel sometimes, and I think we saw that. You know, Price just like those Panzer Grenadiers, which have been keeping them in the game with their Panzer Shreks and being able to advance on and claim points, they just got destroyed. And then what do? You know. So I spoke halfway through the game that maybe an Ostrapan opener would be nice, because that way you actually have some infantry to hide behind, or like you have some ablative cheap infantry who can absorb some shots and still be able to fall back and can make better plays for points, who can distract or attract the fire from the Maxims, the mortars, and the tanks and whatnot, and then enable your Panzer Grenadiers to get in position and do stuff. Furthermore, while the mortar half-tracks were very good on this map, they were actually firing from a fairly static position a lot of the time, weren't they? Like, let's consider the middle of the map here. So the Soviet units were more or less along this line. The Soviet weapon team. So we had the 2 mortars here. We mostly had the Maxims here. The Zis guns moving as and when needed. And then the mortar half-tracks were mostly just in a line here, firing for most of the game. Yes, Price was moving them forward and back as and when he felt comfortable sort of repositioning them to take better shots. But if you're using the mortar half-track in that fashion, probably the GR34 mortar tube would have done just as well without costing fuel, and possibly even in some ways be more survivable. I guess the only exception to this is when you're actually in a mortar war, because then the GR34 is actually more susceptible to enemy mortars than the mortar half-tracks. So, but I still feel like if you just went for 3 GR34s here instead of 3 mortar half-tracks, it's just going to come out being cheaper. That saves you like 90 fuel, which is not insignificant. Okay, it's a little bit more manpower intensive, but and I feel like those mortar tubes would probably have been okay. So what I guess I'm saying is, if Price would have done a completely different build where he went Ostrapan with mortar tubes, then this would have been a different game. So, wow. Some really useful and insightful analysis there, Magpie. Good job. Good job. If the players would have done things differently, it would have been a different game. There you go. Wow. Who knew? But yeah, Price just he was just nearly able to tip the scales into parity and take control of this game, but just never actually quite able to do that. And Bartertown very confidently steering this game to a nice victory. So yeah, well played between these 2 players. Nice to catch a good game featuring CaptainSPrice. That's going to do it for today. So thank you very much for tuning in. And this for now, Magpie842 signing out.